Zoomer Radio, AM 740, downtown Toronto, FM 96.7. Yes, with me on air piano, that was Frank Sinatra, Fly Me to the Moon. Happy Gang here. My name is Neil. Good morning. Jane Brown, of course, is here and joining us in the studio as our special guest member of the Happy Gang today. PR guy to the stars, Eric Alper, is here by popular demand.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this. I'm fascinated.
This is truly one of the only times when everything is the truth. This room is full of happy people.
It is. It's true.
Well, we kind of like each other.
You know? Listen, it's a weird time to have a PR person from the entertainment industry in because...
Why? What's going on?
Right? Yeah, there's nothing happening. Here, let me ask the question the simplest way I can think of.
Okay.
If when you woke up, Monday morning, if you were Kevin Spacey's PR guy, does he send that tweet?
Wow. That's an interesting question. As a PR guy, I never want to be called out, whether it's through myself or the clients that I represent, as being phony. And there are PR people out there who try to manipulate and shape the thinking of faceless, nameless general public. And by that, I mean, you never know who is going to be coming out against you. But I always have to imagine that the truth will set you free and to be honest with people. But I think a better question is, does somebody like Kevin Spacey actually have to put out a statement in the first place? Because right now, you could look on social media or read the newspaper or go online, and it seems like every hour there is another star or celebrity or person of power, not even in Hollywood or New York, that is being called out for sexual misconduct. And not everybody has to make a statement. Some people still choose to let the courts decide. Some people still have the law decide what it is. I don't think Kevin Spacey put that line in there about him coming out as gay. I don't think he knew the backlash that he would have taken for that. I really don't. I don't think that he threw that in there as a way of diverting attention away from what he did 35 years ago. I think he just said it just to make sure that people knew where he stood. And a little bit of me says that maybe he put it in there because that was an acceptable way of communicating in the start of a relationship if you're gay. Or if you're coming out, not in Toronto, not in Bolton, Ontario, but in Hollywood or New York at a party full of actors and actresses or people who are surrounding themselves with. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It is just a different culture entirely. And maybe him saying that was, look, everybody did it this way.
Do you think there was an element maybe in including that line where he was like, okay, you know what, there is this 35-year-old secret that's been out there. Now I'm going to reveal other things about me that have been so, almost like, here, I'm going to throw the doors open on my life and here's something else about me that you didn't know. I mean, is there an element maybe of that in his thinking?
But maybe later would have been the time, even a day or two later would have been the time when people were pressing him for more information that he could have revealed that, as opposed to right at the start. I mean, he doesn't even, according to him, remember the incident.
Right, because he was under the influence of alcohol.
Right. I just thought he was really almost too forthcoming about something he doesn't remember. Yeah.
It's also, it's funny that for all the movement that we have moved forward culturally, that coming out of the closet, so to speak, is still an issue for people.
Sure.
It still makes headlines around the world. Yeah. And I think some people who might be a little cynical or might be against what Kevin Spacey has done or did 35 years ago is using that fact that it is still a big issue for somebody to come on out. It's an interesting one. I don't know if I would have, I got to be honest, I don't know if I would have actually made a statement just yet. I would have waited to see what the landscape was and how hot that pot would have been, because as a PR person, you do always want to speak the truth, but you also want to protect your client at all costs. But if they've done something bad, that's when you gather everybody around the table and you say, how are we going to deal with this?
Right. Are there, without naming names, are there people, and people are going to think this is a shot at the president of the United States, and it's not. Are there people that you don't trust them to have their own Twitter account?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, definitely. But I think there are people in this world that aren't famous that shouldn't have a Twitter account.
He's looking at me when he says that. Did you notice
that? I've always thought that it's nice that we all have free speech, but just because you have the right to say something doesn't necessarily mean that you should be saying something. And I think that there are a lot of artists who live in a bubble who completely get things wrong when it comes to the love and attention that they receive when they say something. It's very different when you're on stage in front of 20,000 people and you say something politically, knowing full well that 99% of your audience agrees with you. When Bruce Springsteen says something, his audience agrees with him. When the Dixie Chicks, to a certain extent, said something, or Pearl Jam, those audiences know politically where they stand.
Right.
But it's another when you are putting it out there on social media or you're writing a press release to the world. Everybody still has the right to say, "Nah, I don't necessarily agree with that." And I think this is the times that we're living in now.
It's fascinating. Fascinating. It's one of the reasons why it's always interesting to talk to Eric Alper. He's going to be sticking around for a while yet this morning. Lots more to cover with him. Right now, 8:16. We got Toronto traffic here. Here's Captain Frank.
And we still have big slowdowns on the westbound Gardner Expressway from Spadina all the way out to Kipling. But the earlier collision westbound 401 collectors